All right, welcome guys to our 2022 wrapped for the year. We're doing a review here as a digital marketing agency. And if you're new around here, my name is Bart, and I run a marketing agency and I'm a host of the More Life podcast show. And it's getting to that time where there's just a few more days left in the year. Christmas is fast approaching. And for us as an office, as a team, we are signing off at the end of the week. Today is a Wednesday, so we got 2 more days to kind of wrap things up. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to work very little, only if need be, throughout this holiday season and spend time with my family and spend time relaxing and resting, as I do feel like I have been running around a little bit. But I do want to review and talk about these past 12 months that have been 2022 and talk a little bit about how we are growing, how much work we have put into this year as a company, and where we're going in the future. I think this is a great way to end off the year. We've done so many different things this year, but throughout all of it, I'm very proud and happy to say that we've grown in many different ways, numerically in terms of our team, our capabilities, our skill sets. The business is in the positive realm of businesses, and I know and don't take that for granted. A lot of businesses don't make it this far. We've celebrated 5 years of keeping the proverbial lights on. So if you're new around here, like I said, my name is Bart, but if you can do me a quick favor and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you like this video and if you think that this is helpful in how you plan your or review your business. And let's jump right into it. So a lot of times you guys see me here on YouTube, it's because I'm sharing some type of marketing knowledge that either I have failed and learned something about, or I have gone through myself. And we don't necessarily talk specifically about my business. If you want that type of content, you check out the More Life podcast, where we dive in, and on Patreon, where we dive in more specifically about like how I operate and how a lot of this, the nuts and bolts, as they say, take place and happen. But here we talk, more in generalities about marketing principles, marketing practices, tools and tricks to help you succeed in your own marketing endeavors. And we anticipate and hope that sometimes you would reach out to us and talk to us. And that's kind of what the content strategy is here, is to kind of lead people into a deeper relationship. Um, with this year, and we're going to dive in a little bit deeper and talk a little bit more about specifically what happens in the business side, what happens in the business world, and how do we make it all work together. The first thing you got to know is that our business, I guess, platform, what we actually are. We're, like I said, we're a creative marketing agency, and the three main things we do. Actually, I'm going to say the two main things we do: brand, web design. So we do brand strategy, web design, and development. And there's a third piece to this tripod that we don't always talk about, at least not on, like, let's say, our other social media platforms or our blogs. We talk about it, but we talk about it in relation to our main two things, which is branding and web design. And that's marketing. Just because marketing is such a overwhelming type of word, it can mean so many things to so many people. So we do marketing, but we do, what I tell people is we do marketing for businesses that we service with brand and web design strategy. So basically, if you're already one of our clients, we're familiar with your brand. That's when we appropriate and say, okay, we can take you on. We can understand exactly what you're doing, and we can probably help you because we're familiar, we're intimate with your company, with your brand, how you work. And it's very hard to parachute in to a company and just be um, expect to give excellent results on a very short turnaround. And it takes a longer process, at least for us business wise, to vet and to integrate and onboard long term clients, just to do marketing. So, all that being said, those are the three big buckets that we would say that we do. And by marketing, I mean like social media management, copywriting, pay per click, like ad buying, and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I mean by marketing, and building marketing strategies. So I got a list here on my laptop. We're going to talk through some of the highlights of what we've been able to do this year. And I'm going to start actually with some of the stuff that we were featured in. And the featured list is actually pretty cool. The featured list is, you know, we never expect for these type of things to happen. And I'm not somebody who specifically is just running around anticipating and hoping that somebody is going to pick me up and interview me or all that kind of stuff. But I gotta say, we started off the year kind of with a bang. In January, we were accepted to speak at the Interior Design Show, in Toronto. And I don't know if I mentioned this already, but that's our niche is architects, interior designers, like designers and builders. And then in April, we actually did the talk. In March, we were featured in a magazine in the States, United States, called Shout Out Atlanta, which was, again, very nice to be featured. I can represent the company that way, especially as well at the IDS, the Interior Design Show. And then out of the blue, I don't know if it was February or May, but around that time where we already had the, shout out Atlanta, the Interior Design Show, in the mix of that, we got an email saying that we're on a short list of top 10 Canadian arts podcasts, which I'm like, whoa, that's unbelievable because we put a lot of effort into our podcast. And you don't always know if, like, you see how many people are listening and downloading and all that kind of stuff, but you don't ever really know, like, hey, is this meaningful? And it's great that people are able to respond that way and to get us on a list. Thank you for all the dozens or hundreds or however thousands people that voted, or I don't even know how this all works. And then I was on a podcast this summer with Motion.io, a tech startup company in the States, as well as so fortunate to me, I was just guest featured on a well-designed business podcast with Luann Niagara, and that's the number one interior design podcast right now in U.S. markets, at least U.S. and Canada markets. Um, so all in all, from a 1,000-foot view, that's been a extremely successful year. It's December. We had two podcasts come out with me being featured on them, in great spaces. One in business development, the other one in our intended niche, being featured to speak at a major conference in my city and being shortlisted for the podcast work, and some random magazine that wanted to highlight and feature entrepreneurs in Atlanta, all within a year. From a 1,000-foot view, it looks like everything was perfect this year. And if you listen to the podcast, you know that there has definitely been ups and definite downs to the entire journey. And I wanted to, maybe talk a little bit about some of our core functionality that we operate in, and share some of the highlights and pieces that we were working with. On the live, we're not going to see them, but you can check tomorrow morning for our blog that's going to be launched at creativepartner.ca/blogs, and you'll see our latest blog showing tomorrow on the 15th of December, where you can check out to see, here are some clips, and you want to see some of the imagery that has been put together to showcase some of the stuff that we've done this year that we can share. Not everything is open to be shared with the public. So first up, good old-fashioned graphic design. For specific brands, we classify this as marketing. For specific brands, part of that marketing that we would do, that we already have worked with, is going to be like design work, ongoing work, retainer work, design work, whatever you want to call it. And we were very lucky at the beginning of the year to make relationships with a great studio, and they we worked with them in terms of marketing and SEO and content development, and we were able to produce some really, really, I would even say, award-winning level work in terms of infographics in the cannabis space. It was featured in magazines, which is also really, really great. And then we came back and did a few sets of those, and then we did another one for them again in the summertime for a different company. And I was very fortunate. I don't often get to design work. We have designers, but I got to get my feet wet and my hands dirty a little bit, and that's my pride and joy. Is being able to design and solve problems and think creatively and digitally. And we did the gamification. How does cannabis associate with gaming? And we did a big 8-bit project process there in terms of design and style, and it was very, very cool. We also did some ongoing work and branding and brand strategy work, and these would have been for companies that were in our niche. And again, not everyone likes to be talked about, so I can't necessarily say who we did this for. We did do a brand refresh for a recruitment company and for AV Financial, which is again a very cool project with how we're trying to solve the problem of young home buyers. And it's in kind of in that real estate design and build space, which is where we like to live. And we again got a chance to kind of flex our design prowess. And it's just another one of those projects where I happen, and there's not many. I know it sounds too right off the bat, but this is one of those projects with AZ Financial where I happen to help design it and to get it off the ground, which is really great. And we're going to talk about the team in a few minutes here. Um, and we also did a lot of church work this year in multiple different categories. So next thing we started, I wanted to talk about. Let's say that I'm trying to think of two different things to say at the same time, is our branding and our strategy. And the strategy and the branding portion, we did a couple of church branding, and that's just something that's kind of close to my heart. Um, I did 10 years as communications, working three different churches in my life before I started this company. And when it helped form a lot of the skills in terms of um, dynamic team building and leadership, and how I need to think multifacetedly. And I'm very thankful that people still think of me and refer me for these types of jobs. So we still do them, even though it's not necessarily our bread and butter. But this year we actually had a lot of fun working. I can say this one, Toronto City Church, a extremely cool church that's really passionate about using media and marketing to bring clarity and confidence to their message. And our designer, Isabel, who is an absolute rock star, knocked this one out of the park. We were able to do brand strategy, marketing strategy. We're in the process of doing their website, developing the logo. We did that already this summer. So that's kind of the branding and brand strategy portion of it. And then we also did the marketing strategy for companies like Mascot Brewery and Bramley Christian Fellowship and the Brandon Gonez Show. We're very fortunate. I think it was last year we did the Brandon Gonez Show branding. And then this year we came and we helped them with a little bit of marketing and marketing strategy, their SEO placement, and just getting them set up on Google News, Apple News. And it's a great connection that we've made over the years. We share an office space. That's why we both work in the same office complex. And what that does is, because we're the proximity, we were able to integrate with them really well. Even though they're not necessarily in our niche, we were able to use a lot of the skills that we have to help them technically with their SEO and with their marketing. Mascot Brewery, again, proximity makes things really nice and close. they're in the same office complex again as us. And they have a big production facility here, and we were able to partner with them and go through some of their content marketing strategy, some of their big branding buckets, and that just so helped them to the point that now we're talking about how we can further integrate and work together as well. So you'll also see in here like web development stuff that we did, and I mentioned AZ Financial, again TCC, My Red City. I'm just picking a few of the things that are on the list here because we don't necessarily have a lot of time, and I need some time for my thank yous and all the flowers I want to give out. My Red City, again through connections that we have, we were put in a position to help a great design and build where they have their own in-house design team, architects, and construction all together. They do full home renovations in the Kingsway and Etobicoke area, which is a very nice home area where people live, and we were able to help them again with some of their strategy and as well with their branding, update and refresh, and as well as get a website built for them. So this is all just to say we've been very fortunate to have a lot of different types of work, including video. Now, we don't necessarily tout ourselves as a video production company. When the company first started, I did that because anything to pay bills. And it was just me, and I was running around, and I had a baby that was walking, and a baby in diapers, and we had to put food on the table. But we quickly kind of focused in on our main thing, which is branding and web design, and we built a team around that. But every once in a while, it's really nice to be able again to help a business that really needs it when you know that you can provide that vision for what they're actually needing and looking for. And so we partnered with the Pentecostal Assemblies of Canada and Alpha Canada, and we were able to produce multiple videos this year that were extremely well, whether it was event capture and production, social media video production. We talked about tough topics and did multi-angle interviews about abuse of power and what does the race relationship look like right now in the space that the Pentecostal assemblies serve. And I was very honored and privileged to be a part of that, and I feel like that's a great way that I can give back to a big portion of my roots and community is to help facilitate some of these conversations. We actually filmed it in my office space, and it turned out really well, and it was shown to a lot of people. So that's kind of like the work that we did. And in the last little bit, we've kind of focused a lot on, I guess, our content and making our content the best that we possibly can. And I think it was September 2021. We had just onboarded basically what we now know as the team, and we got the right people in the right rooms together, and kind of talked about what could this look like. And we really wanted to focus in on our blogs and really focus in on our social media and really focus in on our written content and video production for our content strategy. And I can definitely say, after we've done this now for 18 months, that it has paid off dividends in many ways. It has set us up for success in a lot of ways. I just got to quickly jump through here. We've produced over 65 pieces of video content just for YouTube alone, let alone for the More Life podcast and for Creative Partner Studios. And we're that's across shorts and real videos. That's the most consistent video drops that I've ever done on any channel. And my team is a large portion of being able to produce that. And we're going to highlight the team at the end. And then we also had the podcast. The podcast was so good this year. We didn't post as often as we wanted. This is one of those things where I'm like, I really hope we fix this for next year. We're in the process of already revamping how we do a lot of the podcasts so that it becomes not only the best for you, but also best for me, so it works within my schedule. Because it's one of my passions is bringing light to different people's ideas, perspectives, and how people are coming up with new and unique ways to solve problems. And we were lucky this year, throughout 2 seasons that we've done this year. Ashley Almer, Victoria Marcinovska, Cham Sabowski, Francois Pinchot. More recently, those that podcast has just popped off, and we've been able to produce I really can say this with no shame or distrust or anything like that. We've produced excellent episodes of content for the More Life podcast. It is a big um, red check mark for me. Like, we've done it. Um, I used to think that I would want for the podcast to become renowned and recognized and make money and take me around the world traveling and all that kind of stuff. And I still think it could, but if it doesn't do any of those things, I genuinely feel like we did something really powerful by combining and curating a list of creatives and perspectives that people could look up to and find inspiration from. So the podcast, I can't wait to see what happens next year. We just signed a deal that I can't necessarily say yet, but there's some announcements that are going to come with the podcast for 2023 that I'm extremely, extremely excited for. We had dozens of guests this year come on, and we've had lots of people that have helped us produce all of this. Okay, here's the main part. I know we only got a few minutes left, and I'm going to take a quick sip of water because I've been talking for a long time. This is just water. All right. The way that we do all of this, because producing content at the scale that we've done, um, and I haven't even mentioned our social media platforms, where with our content production and with the video production and the podcast production, we've also been on social media and we've grown by hundreds of followers across platforms, literally hundreds. Um, and we've been in new spaces and we are preparing to go in and dig deeper in new wells and different spaces. It really comes down to the team of people that I've been able to assemble. And I don't take credit for I assembled the greatest. They just happen to have a great synergy about them. Amanda, Isabel, Maria, and more recently, Mike, and most recently, Patricia, who is our newest member. She's our admin, and the way that each one of them provides so much value and alleviates so much stress. People often ask me, how do you do this? And this sounds a lot like maybe a podcast episode of how do you do this, where you have a family and a wife, and you have, at the time I also had my extended family that needed me, and I had this business, and I had the podcast, and on top of that, we wanted to promote, so we started a content marketing strategy, and that we're doing networking events. And I did 12 of these live streams this year. Every month we did a live stream. How do you do all of this? It's because there are people who are greater, smarter, more talented than me, that are willing to buy into the vision of what we could be if we all worked together. And I really am excited for what Creative Partner looks like in the very near future. And these people that I just mentioned, we've come and circled around. Um, not me, not even Creative Partner as a brand, but we've come around our brand values. And I strongly suggest anybody who has a company, has a business, is starting something, write out the values, because the values will guide you and the values will keep you sane, even when you feel like you've made it or you arrive or you're stretched and you're stressed out. The values just hone everything in, keep you humble, and keep your pace at the right place. For us, we have four values. Number one is to deliver. We're only as good as what we produce for our clients, and our clients are first. Those people are the best people, and we only work with people that we like. So, if you're one of our clients, just know that we think highly of you. We really want you to succeed, and we want the best things for you. The second thing is growing through collaboration. Our collaboration is the key to how we actually produce great work. And you can see all these things are kind of connected. We want to deliver great work, but the way that we do it is by working together. So, yeah, growing through collaboration. And then, like you've probably heard me say, people, not clients. We like to refer to everyone we work with as people because when you know somebody, you get to understand them. When you understand them, you can solve their problems, and a client just feels like an invoice, just feels like it's operations. It just feels like it's salesy. I'm the salesperson, you are the client, and we don't want that. We want people to feel like, even though it's a very digital world we live in, but we are humans interacting with one another. And number four is always be learning. The only way that we can grow is when we share and understand new ideas, and then that's the only way we can always deliver on number one, which is deliver the best work possible. So deliver, growing through community, people, not clients, and always be learning. Okay, I can't stress this enough. The team, the people that I mentioned before, we've come around these values, and that's, I think, a big part of the success of 2022 and how we've been able to accomplish, in my regard, so much, or at least I'll say this way, so much more than what I thought we could accomplish this year. I'm very thankful for the work that these people have put in and are continuing to put in because we're kind of in a busy season right now, thankfully, and we're trying to crunch in as much work as possible. And there's just so many good things that I wish I could say specifically that are happening, but in the new year, in January and February, you are going to see hopefully some press releases and some announcements about some of the things that we are doing that I think are very, very cool. And I hope to have more of these moments. So for the rest of the year, find peace, find solace, find hope that today is only one day and you have many more to come. Uh, I've been Bart. Peace out. If I don't see you, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.